I'm recording this in early May of 2021, and most people have a mix of remote work and in-person work right now. I really like it, though. I really feel that having that remote work removed quite a number of prejudices, and I'll explain in this video. I do a lot of private tutoring. In the past, when it was all in person, right? Before COVID-19, when it was all in person, I would run into trouble because some of the clients would want to meet in their home. I have chemical sensitivities, and sometimes people's homes can be really tricky. They like to plug in air fresheners. That's the number one problem I have. Not too many people smoke in their homes. It happens sometimes. Air fresheners were the biggest problem. Sometimes people used a ton of perfume as well. So I would used to get really nervous about how to explain this. I've learned to not say up front, oh, do you use air fresheners? I've learned to actually go to their home, and if there's a problem, to explain, I'm sorry, this is not going to work. Is there somewhere else we can meet? Even then, I lose most of the clients when I do that, but it's better than starting by saying, oh, do you use air fresheners in your home when they call you? Okay, at least you get the foot in the door there and people get to see who you are. But even then, there's a lot of prejudice. To give you an idea, so fast forward to 2021, I'll usually start working remotely, right? And then we'll be 3-4 sessions in, and I'll usually encourage the students, this would be really nice if we could meet up in person. We meet up in person at their home, there's a problem. And I explain the same situation. And by this time, the student gets to know me, the parents know me already, and it's very easy for them to work with me on doing the tutoring elsewhere. And it really changes the dynamics of the prejudice. Now, I'm pretty guilty of that prejudice myself, too. I used to look at the family's home and I look at the address and I go, this is a shady area of town. They got to use a lot of fragrances, or they got to have a lot of people who smoke in that home, right? I was guilty of that too. And then I would go there and they don't use any of that stuff, but in my mind it's already caused a lot of negativity, and often it would affect my work. But now that I get to work with the family, get to know them, and I know they're not that kind of people, when I go there, I don't build up that bias in my head. It just goes to show how strong that prejudice is. The only minor problem I have sometimes is sometimes the kids are very young, right? They're 10, 11, 12 years old, and they think that having a mask on would help me with those fragrances. Not really. You need a P100 mask, and then they're not going to hear me if I wear one of those, so that's not going to work. But another big benefit is that sometimes when people hear that I'm almost old enough to run for the President of the United States and I'm still single, they hold a prejudice against that too. And when I was working remotely, there was a lot less small talk, and that didn't have to be out there, that I was single. People love small talk. I'm going to have to think hard about how to deal with this. I'm guilty of that myself too. I sometimes the reason people know I'm single, by the way, is oftentimes at a workplace especially, I develop a crush on one of my coworkers, one of my clients, and I don't do a very good job at hiding it sometimes. I've learned how to hide it. I've learned a little bit of a mental trick. See, when I go to a job and I have a crush on somebody that's not appropriate, I try to tell myself that maybe this is God playing a trick on me to see if I pass his test, and I gotta pass it, right? And treat her just like anybody else, right? Without any of these biases and all that. It's a tough one, but I've learned it's very important for my career, and to treat it almost like a test and to pass that test.